Good morning, everyone, to our weekly AgRobotics working group. It's the 24th of May. Today, we're going to have Fine Field presenting to us, and a representative right here is Lena Gray. Lena, if you wanted to talk a bit about yourself and your organization.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Um, so I am the U.S. Operations Manager for Feinfield. A little bit about my background. In 2018, I started working for a 1,000-acre farm. I was the harvest coordinator. I ran 23 oxbows, 2 latals, and 250 hand-picking crew. We mainly harvested for the fresh market. We did some process as well. Since then, I've had my own company. I've been doing custom harvesting, consulting, fleet management. I do trainings on how to pick for the fresh market via machines and also driver trainings. But today I wanted to introduce the Harvey um, robotic harvester and go over some of the requirements for mechanical harvesting. Let me see if I can share my screen. I'm not too Zoom friendly. Oh, wait.
It should be down at the bottom, a big green rectangle.
Okay. You guys see it?
Yep.
Okay. Um, okay. All right. So I'll go over how it all started. So Feinfield is a Dutch company that was founded in 2018, and they're focused on blueberry harvesting. These are the five founders of the company, the gentleman in the middle and the man in the white shirt. That's Leon, and the man in the white shirt is Marcel. They're brothers. They grow blueberries over in the Netherlands. They were a little discouraged about the options for machine picking, and they had some labor issues. So Leon, the gentleman in the middle, is like, we need to come up with a harvester. So him and his buddies, the other gentleman, the man in the black shirt, dark denim, is Marcel. He's the CEO. The gentleman with the remote control around his neck, that's Peter. He is the engineer. And then the gentleman in the blue shirt, that's Mike. He has his own metal fabricating shop, and together they created Find Build. Um, sorry. So first, Feinfield started out with the Harvey 200, which is a manual harvester. The harvester would go into the row, the blueberry row, and there'd be people on each side kind of shaking that bush and getting those blueberries off. The blueberries would then fall onto a catch sheet and then roll into the lug. I like to say this is the starting point of where we are today with the Harvey 500, which is a robotic harvester that's made for fresh market for growers who have 10 hectares or more. And today, as of today, we're going to have 39 operating throughout the world. I did want to play a brief video for you guys. It kind of goes over it goes over everything that the Harvey does and how it picks and everything. And then I'm sure that you guys will have questions. We'll answer those at the end, but I will go through a lot of those characteristics that the Harvey that you'll see in this video. Can you see the video?
I
No?
don't
Okay.
think it's went
Cool.
over.
All right, hold on. I need to share that too, don't I? Um, sure. You see it now?
Yep.
Okay. It doesn't want to go full. Okay, some of the key features, can you guys see my screen? Yes, okay.
Yep.
Some of the key highlighted features that we will talk about in depth in this presentation. One is that the Harvey's designed to deliver fresh market quality berries. There's minimal fruit loss due to the way that we pick, and we'll go into that in more detail as well. It's electrically powered and solar charged. You can pick at night with it. It runs for 5 hours on a fully charged battery before you have to hook it up to a generator. It replaces roughly around 50 to 80 hand pickers per one machine. It's connected to the internet and to the cloud, so we can service your machine remotely. And we can also do preventative measures, like if we see that there's an issue occurring, we can stop it ahead of time. The machine is autonomously driven, so once it gets into the row, it is going to drive itself. And there's a scale on the machine that also weighs and stacks the crates, the full crates of berries. Okay, so what makes it fresh market quality fruit? So we have the unique shaker head. The shaker head is adjustable from 0 to 800 RPMs. This allows you to shake at the frequency that you need to calibrate the machine properly to pick that fresh market fruit. It only has 2 drops, and they're soft drops. So when the fruit drops onto the soft catch system, the soft catch system absorbs that energy from that drop, and the berries don't bounce as much as they would on other surfaces. We also have a patent system where the brushes go into the bush, and I'll show you more about that as well. The second drop is going to be when the berries roll into the crate. And here in this video, you can see on that blue belt is our catch sheet, but we also call it the blueberry belt. The berries are falling onto that and then rolling into the buckets. And then from the buckets, they are going, you can hold on, I'll show it in a second. They're going onto that soft catch sheet and then dropping into the crates. Let's see, how do I get this to play? Okay, so here's a side by side of it on metal versus the soft catch sheet. You can see on the metal how the energy is going back into that berry and creating that bounce. That's going to cause the internal bruising. Here on the soft catch sheet, they have designed a sheet that's going to absorb most of that energy from the drop. And you get less bounce. There's still some, but you get a lot less. Also, the brushes that are patented, they're made to go into the bush. Hold on real quick. And they kind of hug around the branches. I think in this video we have or in this slide there's a video. We'll play that. So is it playing? Sorry. So here you can see how the brushes are going into the bush. It's going to prevent the berries from falling on the ground, and it kind of gently wraps around the bush and creates a little to no gap system that minimizes the drop. Should have practiced that one more. All right, so I guess one of the main characteristics that a lot of attention is given to the Harvey 500 is that it's fully electric and solar charged, which makes it environmental friendly. With diesel engines, you have a lot of CO2 emissions that are zero with electric in combination with the solar panels. An electric motor is much more efficient than a combustible engine. You're using 85% of the energy that you put into it, as opposed to a diesel engine, which is around 16 to 30%. There's no use of food hazard liquids, so you don't have any diesels and/or oils that could leak onto your field or berries. There's less maintenance. It's electric motors that only have one rotating part when diesels have countless parts. The convenience, there's little to no noise on it, and you have no smells associated with some of those diesel fumes. the lower total cost of ownership. So there's lower maintenance costs. A lot of it can be done remotely. Also, there's subsidies. There's often subsidies that you can get when purchasing this machine. And I think that California is one of them in America where you can get, I think, 70% back of what you purchased if you trade in one of your machines. I have to look into that more. I think it's still being developed at this point. But it's cheap energy. The sun is free. Um, and then, like I mentioned earlier, you can harvest on at night on a fully charged battery for up to 5 hours before having to hook it up to a gas-powered generator. So the machine is autonomously driven. It only takes one operator to move the machine from row to row and then put it into the next row. In the future, we're hoping to see maybe one operator operating 3 machines, but due to regulations in the Netherlands, it's company requirements. So we say that you can only have one per machine. But you're also going to be saving money in this case because you're having less people on working on the machine or working with the machine. Like compared to other harvesters, you're going to have people on the deck, you're going to have drivers, you're going to have people on the ground as well to help. So this is going to be more cost effective or efficient. There's no tractors needed to pull the machine. It's remote controlled, so once the machine is in the row, it drives itself. But you can still change the ground speed, the shaker head speed, and the height of the machine. It does self-level itself though. Next video. And this video kind of gives you a bird's eye view of the solar panels and also how it's autonomously driven. We have one operator there on the ground. Directly underneath the solar panels are 4 batteries, and that's what charges, and that's what charges the whole machine is the solar panels and the batteries. Sorry. Okay. So the heartbeat, like I mentioned, is connected to the internet. It can be serviced remotely. A lot of the time.
I think we might be losing a bit of connection here.
Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry, I see it glitching out. Oh.
We just can't hear you right now, Elena.
Can you hear me?
It's a bit
Okay,
choppy.
hopefully
now
it's
you're
right
back.
now.
You're good now.
Okay, cool. Okay, good. Okay. So like I mentioned, the machine is connected to the internet, so it's connected to the cloud. We can see where the machine is positioned. We can see how it's functioning. So if you do have an issue with your machine, we can go into our system and also look in there and see, oh, this is happening. You need to remove this crate or reset this portion of it. A lot of the times we can do it remotely as well for you. And then also, hold on, sorry. So predictive maintenance capabilities. We can service the machine remotely when you're not using it. We can have that scheduled for you. There's a customer portal, so we're collecting data as it's harvesting as well. That's for us internally, and then also for the grower. So the grower can have access to their pounds picked per field, per row. They have access to heat maps, and I feel like I'm missing something here. Oh, and then also you can track how you calibrated your machine, your calibration settings for that pick for future picks, like for the next season. We are currently working on adding services to this portal for additional data collection. We do want to do color sorting and or pounds picked per every 3 bush like 3 bushes as opposed to every row or section. We really want to narrow that down. Let's see here. Oh, and then ground loss. I'm going to play this video and kind of narrate through it. So many growers have remarked that the volume loss is about the same as hand picks. I have witnessed that as well. I think it might be a little bit more when just a tad bit more when the bushes or when the berries are a little bit more mature. But I'm going to be taking actual tests on that to get actual numbers. So you can see the ground right there, how there's no berries on the ground. I don't feel like it's the same section, but you can see after the harvester has harvested through that section, you can see that it will show here in a second how many berries that you're going to see on the ground after the harvester has rolled through it. It takes a second. And I'm going to pause it when we get down there. Can you guys see that? It's kind of hard to see, but I mean, there's little to no drop when you're harvesting at the right time with this harvester. I feel that this is a good example of what you're going to see in most fields. I need to update this one, but it's a performance metrics for 2022. Unknown high chill variety was used. The average yield for the first pick was about 635 kilograms per hour. And during the second pick, it doubled about 1360 kilograms per hour. On average, you're picking about 1.75 to 2.5 hectares per day, and that's given a 10 to 12 hour day period. And like I mentioned earlier, you're replacing roughly around 50 to 80 hand pickers by implementing one machine into a field. Requirements for optimal use. Okay, so in order to minimize the fruit drop during harvest, to pick mainly just the mature fruit on the bush and leaving the green behind, and also to minimize bruising along with decreasing the plant injury for harvesting or during harvesting. These are the structures and the requirements that we say are best for it, but we can pick in almost any field as long as the ground is not too ruddy. So like with most harvesters, you want that upright bush. And you know, that structure that's upright. You don't want something that's like kind of going low to the ground. You do want an open crown, which I feel is new for machine pick because a lot of people want that really tight base. Here you kind of want to have it a little bit more open, and that's so that those brushes can get in between those branches and prevent fruit loss. And I think that's good for growers who have established fields who think that machine pick can't work for them, because here this is where it is ideal in those situations. Sorry. And then it says the maximum crown diameter is going to be about 350 millimeters, give or take. The maximum height of the bush on a loaded bush, not something that you're going to be, not after it's been picked and it goes back upright. On a loaded bush that kind of hangs over, the maximum is going to be about 5.25 feet. Oh, sorry, 1600 millimeters. And then the max width is going to be the width of the tunnel, which is 1900 millimeters. Just reiterating on the open crown to minimize the fruit loss and how that looks when those brushes are into the bush. Oh, so for row spacing, we're looking about a minimum of 25 to 3,000 millimeters. When minimum row spacing, plant width needs to be checked. So you don't want them to touch over or be too close to each other. You need a minimum of 6,500 millimeter clearance at the end of the rows for the Harvey to change into the next row. So what happens is that you need that minimum so the side wheels can come down, as you saw in the video, and then it kind of sideways moves over, side wheels come back up, and then it goes back into the row. So there's no front or back of the machine. The machine picks in both directions, so it's color coordinated. We have the red side and the yellow side, so you just pick in whatever color you're actually wanting to pick in. And then periodic row breaks are needed if you have really long rows. I guess a max of 300 meters, you want to have row breaks in there, which I feel like is pretty long. Use cases. So to use the harvester in canopies or fields that have canopies, you're going to have the canopy higher than, was it 3.5 meters, or you can just open the canopy up in order to fit the Harvey in. I really do like this aspect of it as well, is that you can use it in substrates. In both these scenarios, the one with the white pots is harvesting at the pot level, so we have the steering tubes at the pot level. Or if you'd like, you can also harvest at the base level, ground level of the plant. The reason why it's not meant to come over like
Oh,
harvesters is
I think
because those
we're losing you again. Just
fingers of the brushes.
hopefully come back in just a sec, just like last time. Still a little bit choppy. The joys of technology.
Okay.
Oh, I think I hear you now again.
Am I back?
I can hear you, but your screen's frozen just for your video, but the presentation's still up.
Okay. Sorry. I
No
don't
worries.
know. It's always happens like this. Um, oh, there I am. And then for night harvest, we've already went over this. It runs 5 hours on a fully charged battery at night. And then you can hook up the generator that's provided. It does come with all these LED lights that you see on the machine and the generator. Let's see here. Oh, I must have took some out. Well, that's all I have, you guys. I'm sure there's questions.
I have a
You guys
couple
want to?
questions in the chat for you. What is your business model? Do you do retail as a service, or do producers buy the machines outright, or is it another
Robot as
structure?
a service. Robot as
Robot
a
as a
service.
service. Sorry.
Yeah, so we have it's called Haws and it's Harvest as a Service. We do offer that, and we do offer also we growers can purchase the machine and or rent the machine depending on their needs.
How many units are in the US currently, and how many acres on average are they working?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, right now we have 4 machines in Georgia. 150 acres is running 2, and I believe they're going to purchase a third one next season. 120 acres has 1, and they're kind of wishing they had another one. And then we have another smaller grower who has about 40 acres, and he has 1 machine as well. And then here in the Pacific Northwest, we will have, I believe, 5 or 6 machines, and that's going to be ranging from farms that have maybe 300 to 600 acres, and then also some trial plots of nurseries and whatnot as well.
Another question just came in. So when it reaches the end of the row, the operator has to reposition it for the next row.
Yeah, so I can show you that. That's one of my favorite parts, actually. um it was in the video. Let me go back to that video real quick. I think I need to grab or find a better video in order to capture that, because I think it's really cool. Okay, right here. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So here the sidewalls are coming down, and those are what maneuver it sideways to the next row. So instead of making a turn, you're just going to be shimming over to the next row. And then you pull the sidewalls back up and then go into the row. It takes about 40 to 50 seconds to bring them down, 40 to 50 seconds to put them back up.
And I think to elaborate a bit on that question as well, is there a way that that could be automated?
I'm sorry, what?
Is there a way that could be automated so that the operator doesn't have to tell it where every row is?
I think that's in the future. I think that's where we want to be, where the fields are mapped and then the harvester can just go through and harvest as needed, and somebody can come check on it and check the calibrations. As of right now, for safety reasons, we're not quite there, and the operator does have to have the remote to go and move it sideways.
Okay. Are there any cleaning methods slash features for growers concerned with combating the spread of diseases across fields or rows, such as gray mold or mummyberry or other diseases?
No, that's a good question. Very good question. So we do suggest that you wash your machine. You wash your machine every day, and if you are in fields that are susceptible to those diseases, or they do have those diseases, I would suggest even spraying it down with like a Parasan or Parasan A if you're organic. every row, and then washing it before you go into washing it and sanitizing it before you go into the next field.
Fantastic. Is the row spacing required, the standard row spacing right now for these crops? I think you touched on that a bit in the presentation as well.
Yeah, so I think it was, I speak in feet and you guys are probably in meters, right?
A bit of both, depends on the operator. A lot of it's still imperial though.
Okay. Um, so row spacing is going to be about 2,500. The minimum is about 2,500 to 3,000 millimeters, which is about 8.2 feet. Uh, we don't do anything like with those high density fields. It's really hard to get a machine into that. But 8 is the minimum that is recommended.
Uh, how are services for the components handled?
I'm sorry.
For the machine, I think they're asking like serviceability for any components that are with that machine. If anything fails or anything like your parts, replacement parts.
You
Correct
have
me
to
if I'm
wait
wrong
two
on that
weeks for it to
question.
come in the mail. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. So yes, that's a very good question. So there's spare parts that come with the machine for frequently used parts or parts that are prone to could be replaced. We will also have people on site there. So right now, I have somebody coming from the Netherlands every week. They kind of rotate, and there's somebody always there to be with the machines or service as needed if needed. And then also we send spare parts box to a location just in case. That's for right now. We are planning to get established here in the US. I'm their first US employee. And then from there, I'm looking for a facility. We're going to start doing assemblies here, part storages here. We're going to have all that stuff here in the US as well.
Next question is harvest as a service. Are you doing this only in the Pacific? Anything in the Atlantic area?
I believe that's an option, yes. Yeah, so I think that Marcel, the CEO, would be a better person to talk to about that. And whoever, if you guys want to email me at the end, that's fine. I can hook you up with him. But yes, I think that those are the directions that we want to go with that. And that's my information right there.
And next question is, we have bird netting in our blueberries. More so for the Harvey 200, is there an option or any potential development for a harvester that would be able to accommodate fields with bird netting?
Bird knitting. Oh, is that when it goes over like lays over the bush? Hmm. So how do you guys harvest that with that? Do you just put the harvester in there and it shakes off?
Dan, if you wanted to elaborate on that, Dan.
Really bad, but
Yeah, I was just thinking more so because we have basically, like you said, there's a net over top of the berries, but we have posts that are in the rows. So for those harvesters, if they're gonna go over top of them, they would be, hitting these posts. So we would almost need something that could pull apart, if you know what I mean, and almost have two separate units that would then be able to, I guess, attach in the middle, because again, there's these posts right in the middle of the rows.
so I this part. So
If that makes sense.
I'm so sorry. The only part that I heard was if that makes sense. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I think it's my connection. Hold on real quick. Let me try this.
back to St. Joe's, urgent care.
Okay, maybe that might help a little bit. I'm not sure, but
can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
No, I was just gonna say, so we have bird netting, and the bird netting is supported by these posts, which are in the middle of the rows.
Hmm.
So, with the Harvey 200 or the Harvey 500, it's connected, I guess, and it goes over top of the bush. But yet, like in our system, we have posts that would prevent something like this moving over top of this bush, because they would hit the post. So is there something that, or I was just curious if you guys had anything, whether it was in the pipeline or something more so for the Harvey 200, that you could almost pull apart so that you could harvest those blueberries, because again, we have posts in our rows, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Can
Okay.
you email me that question and
Yeah.
I will pass that along because they're very big on creating things that are going to work for our growers. they don't make the parts there in the Netherlands. They source out, and I thought that was strange to what I'm used to, because I know that Oxbow and Latal and the other companies make a lot of their parts in house, but they really
Yeah.
want to focus on engineering and creating things that work for the customers. So that's where they put all their energy. So I think that would be an easy fix for them. I'm pretty sure of it. So if you want to email me, I can hook you up with the right people on that one.
Yeah, and I'll send you pictures too, just so you can understand
Perfect.
maybe a little better what I'm trying to say. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Next question is, in your experience, how much operator training is required to set up and get the harvester rolling?
For the Harvey,
Yes.
I believe it's a lot easier than it is for an oxbow, because with an oxbow you have to teach the driver how to not destroy plants, not destroy imposts, not to hit things, and how to go. With the Harvey, I feel like it's a lot easier. For me, I learned very quickly on the Harvey, and then I can train somebody within like an hour, 2 hours, and kind of coach them through it. I think that the main part is that when we're assembling the machine at at a grower's field, it's kind of important to have somebody who's a little mechanical savvy. They're helping. One, we need the extra hands, and two, it kind of gives them an idea of how it runs and how it functions, and then that person can be a good contact person for when things do happen.
Absolutely. This one I think is a very important question for you. When can we have a demo in Ontario, Canada?
Email me and I will make that happen for next season. I don't believe it'll happen this season, but definitely we'll try to make that work.
Well, you'll be hearing from us for sure on that.
Okay.
Yeah, harvest is gonna be early here in Ontario, probably 10 to 14 days before like average. So it's gonna be by the end of June, beginning of July.
Nice. Nice.
That is all the questions I have in the chat right now. Does anyone else have any questions? Not all at once? No.
Yeah, feel
Harvey
free
as
to
in
email me,
harvester.
text, call. I don't mind at all. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you guys.
We really appreciate your presentation and taking the time to show this all to us. So it's really cool to see what's going on in the industry and going from there.
Yeah,
So thank you
thank
very
you.
much. You more
Thanks
than
so
welcome to stay for the
much.
rest of the call if you would like.
Yeah.
We're just going to go through our agenda items and introduce a couple of people in the call as well.
Okay,
I
great.
think just before you sign off, I think Lena as well, like for your company and your team, you're always more than welcome to join our calls. And if you have time, and just to stay in touch with what we're, kind of what our organization and what our group is doing in the future. As
Okay,
far as,
cool.
especially if you have questions about our market and the Canadian market and what producers are up to and this kind of stuff. So feel free to rejoin and reach out at any time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and absolutely. And in Ontario and in Canada, yeah, we have a lot of funding opportunities right now for innovation and automation and technology that's labor saving and environmentally and economically sustainable for growers. Like a lot's happening here in this ecosystem. So yeah, that's when we saw your post on LinkedIn. We're like, wow, let's get her on our call, because that's what we're really all about, is finding new technologies for Ontario producers that will work for them in our conditions. So thanks so much. Really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Perfect. I'm just going to move on to the next section of our agenda now. I actually passed over this at the start just because I was waiting for a couple people to come in. But I know Dr. Malcolm Adams from Avid Solutions is on the call. If you would like, just to give a quick introduction to who he is. He's one of our new members. Put him on the spot. And then I also know there is some Haggerty interns as well, and I think it'd be good just for them to introduce themselves. And I know we will probably have them present on what they're doing for the summer as well. Double check here. Dr. Malcolm might be occupied right now. Jason, are the two interns on right now? I know the one was.
Yep, I still see Jing there, but maybe he stepped away.
Maybe you stepped away.
No present.
Well, Jing, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and
Oh,
talk a bit on
absolutely.
what you're doing
Thank
for
you,
the
Aaron.
summer.
Oh yeah, no. So I'm hearing three questions. Who am I? What is my background and why I'm here and what I'm doing? So I'll probably start with who am I? So I'm Jing. The easy way to remember my name is it's literally the first syllable of Jingle Bells. I come from a weird background. I don't have any farming experience compared to most folks on this call. Like my parents were subsistence farmers and fishermen, and I haven't seen a lot of farming. I do come from a biology background, been on a few marine biology trips, went to the Amazon rainforest for biology trips, and saw firsthand what climate change can affect the ecosystem as well as food production over there. So that kind of brings to why am I here, and also my background. Studied synthetic biology for 2 years at university, moved into the Richard Ivey Business School. If you guys heard of it, it's one of the top 3 in Canada. And then basically the reason why I'm Haggerty is because, again, saw what impacts climate change has to food production, food security. Don't want that to happen to Canada. That's a lot. So I'm trying to see if I can have a positive impact on this. And I'm also curious, and I find that robotics is very cool, and having the ability to automate farming is absolutely amazing. As to what I'm doing this summer, main objective, 3 letters, ROI. Trying to figure out how do we define this, what can we agree upon, and can we establish something that we can use to calculate ROI for farmers in Ontario in a way that's easily understandable, in a way that can also replicate the reality of those new farming machines. So that is my role, and work closely with Jason and Curtis, who have been very helpful so far, and hopefully we'll continue to have a great relationship with them moving on forward.
Perfect. Thanks for that introduction. Excited to have you on and helping to do some of that research. And so we'll move on to conferences. So coming up, I do believe we have that as well. I just want to make sure that that was on there, but it wasn't. So we have the LRCIC, which is the annual symposium on the 20th of June at Graham Way Events, Elora Center. I alluded to this one a bit on the last call, but the keynote speaker is Engineering a Better Farm. So it'll be something that's interesting. Another thing that isn't on here though, but will be on next week's agenda, and it's also be put onto the website as well, is we have the Ontario Agritech pitch competition, which will be on the 20th of June at 10 a.m. to 11:30 at 150 Research Lane, Guelph, Ontario. I'm just going to put that in the group as well, just to link out to that, just in case anyone is interested. Also, to save the dates, so we have our demo date on the 10th of July. This one's almost 100% confirmed, but we're still in the planning phase there, and we're pretty sure it's going to be happening at the Simcoe Research Station. And then the other one will be the 4th of July at the Muck Station. That one is confirmed for that date and location. More details will be coming out on that as the planning committee gets together and fleshes everything out for that. Other ones are International Symposium on Robotics and Automation, which is on the 22nd of July in Manhattan, Kansas, and the Robotics Application Conference on the 31st of July, which is a virtual event. If anyone does have any events that they'd like put on this agenda, please let me know. Project updates, we are currently working on our CRM for a new way to collect data and ensure that our member list stays accurate and up to date, and also a way for us to get out invitations and newsletters to everyone on this call in kind of a orderly fashion as well, and something that's a lot more uniform than what has been just through Outlook. It's been working, but we want to make sure that it's better for data collection, and then also for getting out to people and ensuring that it actually hits on target. I know there was issues in the past with some of the emails not reaching everyone. And funding announcements, there was Dan, I know you sat on the webinar. Would you want to give an update on the OCI? Put you under a bit of stress there.
Sorry, I just had to flip back to my notes on that. But yeah, it was myself and I believe Jason from Haggerty was there as well. So it was a 3-year, $50 million program, focusing on a few different critical technologies, 5G, AI, blockchain, cybersecurity, robots, robotics, sorry, and quantum. Robotics being and AI being two of the main ones we'd be interested in. Yeah, it supports projects that are up to 1 year in length. Projects need to be a new venture, not something that is currently already underway. And it also, to be eligible, it needs to be in Ontario, and it needs to be for profit. Yeah, so I think gives a bit of a brief summary on that. There's definitely some potential there if anyone is interested. And if anyone wants more details, they can shoot me an email and I can send those along.
And I put a link to that program in the chat there as well.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
I just want to add one point and one I guess avenue that I found one of the avenues I found interesting through that funding opportunity is there was something called a technology access program. So that was funding available for people developing technology to particular sites to do testing or technology development in an operational setting. And that part was interesting, but the other part of it that I found was interesting is that people can apply to be a development site. So for the innovation farms or Vineland or things like that, there's ways to apply to be a development site that would be funded through this program, and that might help companies and help some of these sites get some development projects on there.
Absolutely. Thank you both for that update.
Just one comment on that. But likely if they already received provincial funding, and that would probably not happen.
Okay.
So yeah, you'd have to read the fine print, but likely not. Unfortunately.
Part of the
Got
beauty
that
when it comes to
double-
funding.
What's that?
That's part of the beauty when it comes to funding. You have to make sure
Yeah.
nothing crosses over.
Yeah, no double dipping, no stacking.
Okay.
I would just quickly throw in there, if you need any more information about the tax, just reach out to me. I'm with IRAP, and we have the pretty good handle on the TAC program. Birgit Nielsen from Ottawa has been spearheading quite a bit of that. So there's these interactive visits. You can get up to 4K for firms. And then there's these strategic interactions where it kind of leverages multiple colleges, but you can get up to like 12K of services. So if you guys need any more details, just reach out.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And with that, I'll open up the round table as well. So if there's any other items that you'd like to have brought up or go over, please bring them to the table now.
I suppose that Guelph site that was presented a few weeks ago, that one could potentially be one, but I don't know if they're on the call.
I don't,
Get
unless
funded by-
Tyler is.
I have a comment, Aaron. Emily in Manitoba is looking for some robotics. If anybody's got a footprint in Manitoba or wants a demo site, they have the Rutherford Research Farm, their innovation farm. So if you need contact to Jacqueline or their farm researcher, let us know. And Chuck's working closely with Emily as well. And I'm out there in a couple of weeks to visit and tour around. So.
And then Curtis or Grant, you guys want to talk about Cave Springs, the innovation site, and we had a demonstration there on Tuesday.
Yeah, more than happy to. So just as Chuck was saying, we had a great demo day over at Cave Spring just on Tuesday, where we featured the TED robot, the Burrow robot, and also the Vita rover. And so we had the Burrow and the TED robot up and running. And so it was great having a few different growers come out, show them what those robots have to offer, and look forward to those conversations continuing.
Yeah, so I think so they reset the tooling up. Basically had to remap the vineyard again and make sure that the robot is working correctly. The had some connectivity issues like we always do, but I think Grant said 1 minute felt like an hour. So it wasn't actually that big a deal, but I mean, it's always a panic when that happens, but it just illustrates how that can be when you have people coming to see it and you have what we consider to be a small issue to a grower, that's a huge issue. And so that was interesting. And then the robot is being repaired. There's a minor breakdown on the robot. And because it's heading to New York, going on a trip to New York State in 2 weeks. And then Curtis is going on a tour, I believe, next week to British Columbia. Do you want to talk about that a bit too?
Absolutely. So heading out to BC early next week. I have 2 demos planned with the AgRobotics, and then also meeting with a few contacts out there in BC while there. But the 2 demos with the AgRobot that are scheduled out on Eventbrite currently, working with Organic BC. We have 1 demo on the 30th, and so that will be in Pemberton at Plenty Wild Farms. And then the other demo will be on Saturday, June 1st, and that'll be at UBC Farm. And so very excited to have both those demos. They'll both be about mid-afternoon. We're expecting some pretty good turnout.
And I would think, Curtis, after the presentation with the blueberry harvester, you might want to take some notes about their production as well, since you're going to be there.
Absolutely.
Definitely have to have an update to the call on that.
Yeah, Lana, they have a huge blueberry industry in British Columbia as well, so I'm sure they'd be interested in the Harvey 500 there too.
No, this presentation timed perfectly.
Any other items anyone would like to bring up?
I was just going to introduce myself.
Perfect.
I was here last week. Curtis, you invited me. This has been great. Just want to thank you for that.
More than happy to. Welcome.
I have something as well. Sorry, I don't know how to raise my
Sean.
hand in Zoom anymore.
No, it's perfect.
I just published a paper. It's not quite in this space, but I think this space will be very important. And it's very practical to Ontario production, even though I'm in the prairies. I'll put the link in the chat there. And it's about Palmer amaranth and water hemp biovigilance. I'm very concerned about this for across Canada. And one of the main avenues that we're going to have to combat this weed as it kind of spreads into Canada, it's going to be through precision agriculture. So I think in this space is where a lot of those solutions are going to come from. So I just wanted to pitch that quickly. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Any other
I think
items?
we're definitely interested, Sean, because we're seeing some of those weeds around here. So and we're super nervous about
Not
them.
some.
Just
Not
be nice,
some.
Kristen. Be nice. Be nice.
We have 8 counties with 5-way resistant water hemp. And we did find 1 Palmer amaranth plant in Middlesex County and a mixed
I think
grain.
you had it in your pocket. You had it in your pocket, didn't you?
No way.
Oh, don't say that. Oh my God.
No way. But yeah, we have to go back to that location. The problem is it came in with grain screenings from the US. And we did, I'm sure you saw a paper I was on in 2018 where we found Palmer amaranth and sweet potato slips that are supposed to be soilless that came into Canada. But since then, we have not found it in any sweet potato fields. So it's kind of one of those weeds where it is, dioecious. It's a male and female plant, so you need 2 to tango. But it can happen. It can spread very quickly, right? So, yeah,
And
we are.
you
we do have our genetic testing project that we continue to do every year, which I do every year for these species. And yeah, we just have to be very vigilant. And, we talked about transporting diseases from field to field in blueberries, but weed seeds easily get transported on equipment. And so we always say, if you have fields with resistant weeds, which in Ontario, probably getting a little hard to find fields that don't have at least one resistant weed species, that you better be cleaning that equipment and definitely working the fields with resistant weeds last. So weed seeds spread just as easy as anything else, probably more so. And in horticulture, for some reason, we kind of think about weeds last, but maybe we should be putting up a little bit higher on the priority list.
Well,
My
I'm going to
2
say,
cents.
I'm going to say, Kristen, that we've talked about this before. Like when the Oz robots or whatever come from France, they're not very clean when they come. There's dirt on them from Europe, and we got 2 used burrows that came up, and guess how dirty they were? Super dirty. So what's in that dirt, right? And
Well, you should do a little experiment. Do a little experiment. Wash the dirt off.
I'm too scared. I'm too scared. I don't want to breed
And
it. I
then
want to
put
kill
it
it.
in a thing and we'll grow it in the greenhouse. Well, that's what we did with the sweet potato slips. They're supposed to be soilless. We shook about 30 of the bags. We got an inch of soil, just an inch. And we planted on the greenhouse and we got 1 male and 1 female Palmer amaranth plant. Like it was like winning the lottery. I really wish I won the lottery instead of that. But anyways, long story short, yeah, equipment is the way we got water hemp first introduced into Ontario. That was in 2002. Now, 22 years later, it's in 18 counties. So that's how it happens. And that's how Quebec got it in I want to just say 2017, something like that. And now they have it in as many counties there. It's spread quite a bit faster in Quebec, or we just didn't know about it. But yes, an excellent paper. I've read it, Sean, and of
Thank
course
you.
I have it in my for literature reviews, and really good paper. But yeah, the amaranth species will be our #1 challenge weed species in every production system across Canada eventually.
Mm.
You're lucky out west, you're only seeing the red root and the green pigweeds, but don't be afraid to send stuff my way for testing at Turnkey Genomics through my project there with them, because I can test anything and we'll test it for every resistance so you know ahead of time and can prevent spreading it.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We are coming up to our time now, but anything else before we go? Call the
I
meeting to
guess
a
maybe
close.
just one more thing. I did ask the grape growers about if they're going to have their tailgate tour this year. They typically do an every other year thing, but I kind of told them, well, we do have a couple of projects at Cave Springs, so that would be a good location. The cover crop trial is going to be there. The TED would be there. My demo actually just got moved yesterday to a different location, but still with Cave Springs, not too far away. But yeah, so I'll keep you in the loop on that, what's happening there. And yeah, Simcoe seems to be a go. We just have to start meeting and figuring out. And the Torin, the research station manager, is on board for all the things I asked, so that we can get robots there 2 days early, so we can make sure they work in areas, we got a place to store them, etc. So yeah, put July 10th in. I've gotten a lot of people asking about it already, so we'll need to get flyers out and save the dates out soon so we get everybody there. I think it'll be really good. Really good.
I think so too. If there is anything you'd like to see for presentation wise as well, or at any of the demo days that we do, please reach out and let us know that as well. If you want to see specific companies or organizations, please let us know so that we can get those kind of in the works and start getting that planned out as well. We're always open to showcasing things or hearing about new things as well. So that's a big part of what the working group is and what we want from our membership as well. We want them to be the main guide here and showing us what they want to see to help with the adoption of AgRobotics in Ontario. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope you have a great weekend. Oh, Matt, yes?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I'm here in a workshop in Simcoe. So, Kristen, if you need extra space to store robots in advance, if it's helpful to have another spot nearby, they're welcome to store things here. Just throwing that out in case it's used.
Yeah, and Matt, you're working on something. Would it be something at the stage that you would want to showcase? It's about pruning, isn't it? Is it about pruning?
Thinning, yeah, fruit thinning.
Thinning.
Not quite pruning, but similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're at a point where we probably wouldn't be able to show the full system, but I think we could show some parts of it that would be worth people seeing. I think, yeah.
Okay, so would you?
An opportunity, I'd love to, but yeah. So I'm happy to connect offline, but I just wanted to offer a bit of space if you need somewhere.
That's excellent, because you know what I heard this morning, just quickly. I'm on an Apple call, and they're really disappointed in the chemical thinners this year. They're really not seeing that they did much good at all, and so a lot of people are going in with a second, third spray, and so yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to provide a alternative to, or at least a complement to.
I think you just made Conrad. I think you just made Conrad really nervous there, Matt, when you said you had something to demonstrate. So now let's say the pressure's on.
I know. I got him on my phone, so I can't see all the other respondents. But yeah, I think you're spot on, Chuck. I'm gonna get it in a minute.
More coffee.
Yeah.
Or if your farm is, like even if your farm is near there, maybe a group of us go there after. If you not want to during the day, whatever you're most comfortable with. Yeah, but you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. We'll definitely reach out to you and line something up one way or another. Okay. Well, everyone have a great weekend and enjoy the day. If you need any connections or anything comes up, please feel free to reach out to myself or Dan Woods, and we're more than willing to connect you with anyone in this group.
Boy, likewise. Thank you. Have a great weekend and week, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.